What is up, Fighter and the Kid Army, or tribe, whatever you want to call it. Today is a special episode of the Fighter and the Kid. Basically, it's the Fighter and the Fighter. We got the legend, the myth. I call him the Brain. Kenny Florian, the Brain. Kenny, I don't think I've ever called you that before.
It's because my head is gigantic.
No, it's because you're so smart. That's what I was going with.
The Brain. I'll take the Brain.
The Brain, man. It's a good thing to have, especially as a fighter. There's no CTE with you, my friend. There's no.
I hope not.
Do you see any? I mean, I hate to kick the thing off like this, but do you see any repercussions from fighting? I don't see any.
I think I'm all right. I'm all right for now. I mean, the face been hit.
Couple scar tissue, little ears,
cauliflower ear.
That nose isn't doing anything.
No, it's not. It's only getting bigger.
You and me both, brother.
Only getting
No one's
bigger.
inviting us to a cocaine party. Let's put it that way.
One sniff and it's all gone.
Yeah, you don't want us there. Before Kenny and I get balls deep into this podcast, Brian the Kid Callen is on vacation, so I'm the captain of this mothership, and he wanted me to play a message for you, and hopefully it's inspiring and it's good. You never know with Brian the Kid Callen, so without further ado, which Rogan hates saying, but without further ado, here's Brian the Kid Callen all the way from Utah. This is a message. This isn't actually him talking to us, so let's see what he has to say.
Well, guys, Brian Callen calling you from Utah, Park City, where I am tearing the mountain up. A lot of guys stop me. The ski patrol stops me a lot of times, and they go, "Sir, you got to stop tearing the mountain up like this." And I go, "Shut up. Just have my chopper ready to take me to the top of the mountain again."
So stupid.
And well, the other day, the chopper couldn't land, and I jumped out. They thought I was crazy. This is not about skiing. It's not about me. I'm just saying that's why I'm not with you guys. And I just wanted to thank our fans because we are over 5,000 orders in on this pre-order web series that we worked so hard on. I can't believe the amount of love I've gotten for the special. I read every one of your comments, every one of your emails, and it means a lot to me. You know, what's amazing about this is that we're kind of beating the system. You know, I never did anything in my life where I had the fans. I have the fans. All I have to do is rely on the fans and myself. I've never had that, and it's so rare. I'm just telling you, as an actor, as a comedian, a writer, whatever the heck I am, master skier. It's so rare to have that privilege. You know, when you guys come up and you say, I feel like I know you, I always tell you that's the best compliment I've ever had because I know Brennan does the same thing. We try to basically show you guys who we are unfiltered. And, you know, I don't know what you're going to think about this web series, but I will say that it's my best effort at something, you know. And we always talk about that. It's always like, you know, we got to be, I don't know, I kind of feel responsible to the love we get, and it's such an interesting, motivating factor. It's not about money and it's not about fame. Now it's become about sort of, I don't know. I know a lot of people rely on laughing and listening twice a week because they might have a job they can't stand, or they might be in a situation in their life that's kind of keeping them in the doldrums. And we are the escape, and I can't tell you how much of a privilege it is. I just feel so lucky. So I guess this is a thank you, man. I'm sorry that I'm not there, but I wish I was. You know, I told Brendan this. I said this to him, man.
Was he gonna start crying?
I
think
did he start crying?
I don't know.
I don't know. That was
He
weird.
got emotional.
He did.
Yeah.
I know he hates missing the podcast, but
Yeah.
his family has been harassing him to go on vacation. You know, is it the best timing? No, because we're in the middle of this Fighting the Kid 3D push. But hey, he needs to do his thing. Dude, God bless him because I just can't relax, especially when in the middle of this. I told him, "Do your thing, man. I'll hold the fort down." And for Brian especially, he's more sensitive than I am to this because and I've talked about this a little bit before, with his special, there's so much competition out there. And all anyone knows is do it on Netflix, do it on Comedy Central, do it on HBO, do it on Showtime. And it's not that it's oversaturated, and the big names are benefiting from that. For Brian, he has so much going on. I think they have to package him different. So I told Brian, you're waiting for this approval from all these people who are fitting you in this kind of one general area like everyone else. You're not everyone else.
Yeah.
I said, you have a fan base, and I see it at the live shows. Dude, they love you, man. And I've seen so many specials. It's amazing. Release it to the fans, man. Yeah. And so we came up with the idea to release it with the Fire and Kid 3D of a way to give back. So, with the 3D package, a shirt, that's what we came up with. And, it's going well. And Brian, it used to bother me. He's always surprised when people like what he does. And I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? Yeah. It's amazing, man. It's super. It's like a fighter who'll go in there and knock a guy out in a minute, and then you're in the back. I was this way. I get in the back and I go over the things that are wrong. Right. Instead of do what I did right. Yeah. Brian's his worst critic, man. Like with these Fire and Kid 3Ds, me and him will watch them when they edit them before it's the final edit. We'll watch them, and we're on the ground laughing. Yeah. And I have like this high. I'm like, dude, it turned out so dope. And they're like, not really. And so I'm like, dude, you got to stop self-sabotaging. What you did here is amazing, man. So I think for Brian, he didn't want to miss the show. That's his way of saying thanks. That was a long message. For sure, wrap it up. But and for sure don't cry at the end. But as soon as I found out Brian was missing, which he told me yesterday or 2 days ago, you were the first guy I thought of, Kenny, because we haven't.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, man. I need someone to fill in.
I got big shoes to fill, brother.
You know what, man? You're
Brian's
one of the best.
Funny motherfucker. Can I say that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
you can cuss all you want, man.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, let me ask the boss. Hi, I'm Brendan Schaub, the boss. Yep, you can cuss.
Cool.
Yeah. So
got the approval.
Yeah, man. You're the first one I called. You're a good buddy, and man, we've always had each other's backs. So you're the first one I called.
I just can't wait to get that fighter and the kid check. I mean, I'm so.
Again with the boss. As far as getting money, we'll have to get him. Oh. He's not around.
Oh, okay.
He's not around.
All right, but
talk human resources
at some point.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right,
yeah,
cool.
They're in the back. Hall 17. What's up, man? It's been a while, brother.
I know. It has been a while.
You've been a busy man. I'm trying, man. Work out all the time. I am tan nonstop. That's where the
you're always working. I see your Instagram.
Yeah, I know. You got to post that up.
I
can't be a guy who just tells dick jokes these days.
Right.
I'm still that beast, man. It's still in there. I just don't get paid to fight anymore.
And that's the thing. I mean, how do you stop? You're a busy guy, but you gotta kind of use that as your fuel. Like the physical goes with the mental. Right?
There's nothing worse, I think, when. Not that I was this huge UFC star, but if you have a fan base and they're like, oh, it's Brendan Schaub, and then fast forward after he retires, like I've seen it with football players, and they blow up to 350 pounds.
Right.
Like it's depressing. Well, especially in the field I'm in now, entertainment, it's vicious, man.
Yeah,
there's a lot of competition out there. I come in with a gut or something. Right. Good luck in the job, man. Looks is obviously you have to have the brain and the personality, but looks is a big part of it.
I'm going to be 40 this year, dude. And I was thinking about that. Like, I don't want to be like the guy, like 45-year-old Kenny, like in like a gigantic suit.
I would
like
love
big
that.
Guy, like retired UFC fighter.
That'd be so sick. If you could put on your yellow Bruce Lee walkout gear and it just doesn't fit.
It's
just buttons,
balding at the top,
bald,
the same
sweating.
Look. Yeah, everyone would be so bummed. Be
super bummed, man.
Yeah.
Well, for you too. No disrespect, but your wife is a straight smoke show 3000.
Oh, thank you.
So you can't let yourself go.
Oh, she'll be gone.
There's sharks in the water,
dude,
my man.
She'll be gone.
Gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You let that gut freaking go wild. See ya.
Yeah, she's pretty soon she's sleeping in a different bed. And then she's like, I'm going to spend some time on vacation.
Big Brown slipped in my DMs. He's in shape. He's younger.
I can't let it happen.
You're a busy guy because UFC Tonight, right?
Yep.
Great show.
Yep,
it's you and DC. We'll get into DC a little later.
Yep.
You and DC, and then BattleBots.
Yeah, we got BattleBots coming up on ABC, starting to film middle of April.
And how did that come about? Because a lot of people, like I do some stuff that's definitely out of my lane. Like I was just doing a Conan thing, O'Brien thing. I have this E thing coming up, another boxing thing coming up. And people go, man, it's kind of out of your lane. I'm like, I know. That's what I love.
Right.
When I saw BattleBots, and I love it, man. Because when I was a fighter, if someone got something, I'm like, dang, man. It's not that you're jealous, just like, why isn't my agent doing that? But now that I'm retired, like when I see when I saw you on BattleBots, my dad called me because he loves BattleBots.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Frank Kenny's on Battle. I'm like, Kenny's on BattleBots?
The hell is he
dope,
doing?
man.
Yeah,
or like Paige on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
It's fun because, man, like here's at the end of the day, like you want to have as many options as possible, and it's challenging for me to get into another field, learn about a whole different sport, which really encompasses a lot. I don't know if it's a sport necessarily,
but call it a sport.
But it's a lot of engineering involved.
Smart dudes, man.
Smart dudes, man. Guys are coming from NASA, and literally rocket scientists. Guys are coming from the Department of Defense, and all these smart ass dudes who are building these machines for fun that fight each other. And it like when I was there live, it was mind-blowing because it was one of those things where, I watched it back when it was on Comedy Central. And,
yes, I could not get enough of it.
Yeah, and then when you saw it for real, you're like, oh, my God, these things are killing machines. Like, you'll see a blade that is going at 300 miles an hour that gets fired up in a second. And you're like, yeah, you don't want your leg over there. And it's a legit dangerous
So
machine.
how did it come about? Did they approach you or you have an entertainment agent? Because you'd have to have an agent who's like, Kenny's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Here's BattleBots.
Yeah.
Kenny kind of knows robots.
He knows fighting.
He knows fighting. Yeah, the stretch.
Yeah, no, I was
because it's a tough sell.
It is. I was super lucky, and they kind of reached out to me and they asked me about if I knew about BattleBots, and I watched the show back in the early 2000s and knew about it, and they asked me what other stuff I was into, and I guess I don't know, I'm into cars and stupid engineering in that regard, and that helped, and kind of did an interview, and I was like the last guy they talked to, and then I guess the more they saw my stuff, I guess they thought it would work out, and really it's a gamble at the end of the day, right? Because you don't know if I'm going to work out, and the other thing is like the person that you're working with. It's a gamble too. You don't know if the chemistry.
Yeah,
like I might be okay, and the other guy might be okay.
Yeah,
but
man.
working together it might be crap. But
100% correct.
Chris Rose was awesome.
Yeah, you guys are really good together, and it's not as black and white as fighting. Like fighting, you win, you're good.
Yeah.
In entertainment, it's like I'll go on these auditions, or I'll going through, I'll meet with a head executive of some network. And really, it's like, do you connect? Do they like you?
Right.
Like, it's not very black and white. There's no, are the skills there? Really, everyone that they bring in is pretty talented. Their personality, they speak well. They usually look good.
Right.
They dress well. So it's really a chemistry thing. Whether you get along with that guy and you can connect on a certain level, it's really interesting to me, man.
Basically, I got naked for the show is what happened, and then
I'm here for BattleBots. Like, Kenny, why are you naked?
Yeah.
I will do anything.
I'll do anything.
Do we have a robot in here? No, man.
I got the part.
Not the show.
There you go. Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do.
But you love doing it. To me, and it helps the sport out because a lot of times, especially fighters, boxers, but especially UFC fighters, there's kind of this stigma that, we're meatheads and you cage fight, it's brutal and it's your only option. No, man. Matter of fact, Kenny has a degree. Like, he's a soccer player and he's educated and speaks multiple languages. You know what I'm saying? He dresses well.
Dude, the funniest and greatest compliment I ever got was someone tweeted at me and they go, why is the BattleBots guy talking about fighting on UFC Tonight? And I thought that was the greatest thing ever.
There's definitely someone. I'll be walking on the street and someone will be like, are you Brendan Shaw? Like, sure am. Heavyweight fighter. Huh? No, man, I saw you in Ghost Adventures. Weren't you on Ghost Adventures? Yeah, I was. Yeah, man, I saw you in Mythbusters. Yeah, well, I'm kind of known for something else. I don't care about that.
Right.
And they asked me all these questions about Ghost Adventures. So weird, man.
It's funny, man. It was the best. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to see, man. And you've always been one of those guys you've always been good to me, man. And when it was I think the first time I did UFC Tonight, I'm sitting there and there's Valet, and dude, this is years ago, 3 years ago probably, and I'm obsessed with Porsche, right? I didn't have a Porsche at the time. And we're sitting at Valet. Me and Kenny are talking. I'm like, how are things going? He's like, Kenny's always modest. He's not like me, right? And he's like, it's good. And my favorite car of all time pulls up a brand new, I don't think it came out yet. There's like one in California. A brand new Porsche Targa pulls up. And I go, oh, shit. I'm always dramatic. I go, oh, shit. Look at that, Kenny. Kenny goes, yeah, I'll see you later, man. I'm like, what? And he gets in the car. I'm like, that's your fucking car? He goes, yeah. I went, oh, cool, man. Insert fucking Big Brown's Prius right behind. I was like, fuck, man. Some bullshit. I'll never forget that. You're like,
that was funny,
yeah, very
dude.
cool, man. See you. And the top came down. I was like, bye, Kenny. Things must be going really well. And I was just going through my head. I'm like, all right, he's a Porsche Targa.
That's so good.
His wife was freaking America's top model. I got to get going here. I got to stop fighting. That was the.
And it worked out pretty damn good for you.
Yeah, it has, man. It's tough though, man. Like, I don't know if you do this, but I used to watch fights and get anxiety, and I still do, but it's different. Like, I used to be so competitive. Now that I've been out of the game, for over a year now. Like, I'd watch fights, especially heavyweight fights, and see myself how I'd match up with them. Like, oh, I would do this there. I would do this. Oh, he should have done this. Oh, this is open. Oh, I take advantage of this. Yep. I know that it was definitely time for me to walk away, especially lately. And I thought about making comeback, stuff like that, but I'd watch it, and that's no longer there. It's just not there. I watch it for entertainment now, and a little bit of me, like when I see guys go through wars like Roy McDonald, Robbie Lawler, when everyone was on their feet, I wasn't. Because Roy's a friend. I was thinking more about, dang, man, he's never going to be the same.
The worst thing you could be as a fighter is civilized. You know what I mean? And you look at all these guys. That's why it's so amazing when you see. I'm hitting the mic now. When you see a guy like a Mayweather, and the fact that he not only did he have all those pro fights, but all the amateur fights, all the training, then going through the Olympics, then fighting as a pro, and having being close to 50-0 at this point. You look at guys like Conor McGregor or Ronda, and people go, "Well, they didn't have it. They weren't training as much." This guy's doing it at 49 fights, still training like a maniac. He still has that amount of fight and that will to train in him. And he's sleeping in silk sheets. He's got 8 Rolls Royces. He's got 8 Lamborghinis. He's got 8, and he's still training like it's his first fight. And that's what makes him so impressive. To be undefeated, yeah, cool. But the fact that he's training that hard and still has that will to win is unreal.
Like, you'll see a lot of times, like, guys become jaded to the game. Like, you'll see boxers, they're a little jaded. Maybe they got screwed over by a manager or the promotion did them wrong, something like that. And they don't have the same love and passion for the game, which is very dangerous, man, no matter how talented they are. And then there's guys like a guy like John Jones who has everything, and maybe he is jaded, but he's just so damn good, and he trains his ass off, still whips guy's ass. Or a guy, Conor, he's fairly new. Ronda just got a taste of it with her loss, but there's certain fights or there's certain situations. Misha, she was about to retire.
Yeah.
That's part of the game. And people who can still continue to fight at their best after they realize all that stuff, like Floyd Mayweather was the best example. Yeah. You're talking about a dude who flies G5 jets. Right. He has every car imaginable. He has $100 gajillion in the bank to still train at his level is insane. Because I don't think most people would. I think if you got $100 million in the bank, but you were fighting a guy like Canelo, a young guy, it's going to be tough to get up for that, man.
There comes a time as a fighter where you're just like, I'm good. I've done a lot. I have all the money in the world. No one says no to me. I have everything. I've conquered the world. And there comes a point where you just don't give it as much as you used to. It happened. Look at Tyson. He had all the money in the world, and then he got away with. And the worst thing that can happen to you is when you get away with having success and not training so hard, right?
Yeah.
So then John Jones is a perfect example.
John said that for his Gustafsson fight.
Yeah, and that's how talented that dude is. And now the scary thing is that he's training hard now. Well,
is he though?
I don't know. That's what I hear, but I don't know. He looks in great shape.
Everyone knows this. I'm the biggest John Jones fan. I think he's the greatest fighter ever graced the octagon.
Yeah,
I think he's pound for pound by far the best. It's not even close to me. Yeah, if you look at the people he's beat,
he's an animal, dude. He's number one pound for pound fighter for sure.
But to me, when people go, dude, he's changed. Oh yeah, you know him because. Why? Because he's posting workout videos on Instagram and Twitter. Because we saw him give a speech to the kids. Right. I don't want John Jones on the straight path. I want that. I don't think that's him. It wasn't Mike Tyson. A lot of guys not great. There's this hole inside them that makes them these great fighters. I think a guy for John, and I think he just came out today. Didn't he have like 6 citations for driving or something that was talking shit to the cop? Yeah. And when I saw him, like, oh, he's ready to go. Oh, hell no. Oh, DC. He ready to go.
It's interesting because Rashad Evans, he was on our podcast, Anik and my podcast.
Love Rashad.
And Rashad said the same thing, man. It's interesting that you say that because you've been around these guys. And Rashad has as well. And he said the same thing. He goes, if if he does go on the straight and narrow, he won't be the same guy in the cage. That if you kind of have that, I guess, reckless abandon, like when you're just walking around day to day, if you have that kind of unpredictability as a human, you're going to have that as a fighter. And if he does that, that's what makes him so good. Thinking that he's the alpha male, thinking that he can do whatever the hell he wants. And it was a really interesting point, man. You made the same point.
Alexander, when he fought Alexander, he was saying how in the fight, when he's walked in the octagon, I think John was talking to Ariel about this. Shout out to Ariel, one of my favorite. We'll get on him pretty soon here. But when he was walking to the octagon, he was like, man, I really haven't trained for this fight. Like, he was just like walking in there unprepared. And he's like, now let's find out if this is for you. I was like, holy shit, world champion fight. Let's find out if this is really for you. He goes in there. Obviously, it's a tough fight. He still wins. But to get by on that is insane to me, man.
It's crazy.
And there's certain fighters that I know very well where if you take away that predictability, like that unpredictable. Yes. So I was always a guy where, dude, I had a blueprint. Things had to go exactly as planned. I freaked out.
Right.
That's not how you want to be as a fighter. Right. Really, for me, I've always been that way. I need a strict schedule. The day of the fight, this has to happen this exact time after you did this time. Mm-hmm. The best fighters I know weren't like that.
Yeah.
The Ronda Rouseys were not like that. John Jones is not like that. Most of these fighters, they're just not that way, man.
I think there's something to that, is because, things are so chaotic in the cage that you need to be prepared for the chaos, not necessarily for if A happens, then B happens, and C happens, and because it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't go down that way. It's not like a military operation where you train for months for a certain thing. For it to happen a specific way in a specific building, it's always different. You never know how a fight's going to go. And I think you're right. And when for anybody who thought John Jones was going to be like, well, he hasn't shown that he has heart yet, or he doesn't show that he has a chin yet. And then you realize, oh, shit, the guy's got a chin? Oh, wait a sec. He's got heart for days. Oh, this guy isn't going to quit. He got his elbow snapped by Vitor Belfort, and he comes back and submits him? How do you beat the guy?
It's nuts, man. I don't know.
It's crazy.
I think my kind of weird obsession with having order came from football, and I also felt, because in football, it's pretty predictable. Yeah. You have a play.
Yes.
You have this defense. Someone's calling the play for you. You know where to go. It's very predictable. However, I always felt like I wasn't the most talented. So in order to close the gap between me and a guy like, say, Adrian Peterson, or me and a guy like some freak I played against, who knows, or even in fighting, a guy like me and Andrei Arlovsky or Matt Mitrione, guys who I always thought were more talented than me, the way I'd close that gap is being more prepared. Right. But in fighting, it really doesn't work like that, man. Yeah. It's not like other sports.
Yeah.
It's really not.
I think you need to be – I think the key is expanding your skill set, expanding your arsenal, but not prepping these very specific game plans. And I found the same thing, man. When I overly prepared for a game plan or for a fight to go a certain way – more often than not, I walked away disappointed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And even in fights that I won, I didn't fight as well because I was so worried about this. Everything had to be so perfect. And there's that paralysis and analysis, and that happens out there. You know what I mean?
Is it an intelligence thing? Like they say, fear is a sense of intelligence. And I'm not saying I'm smarter than all these champs stuff.
Right.
However, I felt like I was almost like RoboCop when I'd fight guys. Yeah. When I'd be I'd have percent. I'd be, well, he kicks here usually. He throws this. It's like gauging the guy when other guys just reacting, doing their thing.
You got to be free. The best state of mind is what they call the mushin, the no mind. Just like not even having anything and just kind of flowing with what you have your generalities of what you need to do, but. For the most part, when you're so specific about doing a certain thing, and he moves left, now I'm going to do this, and if he throws this punch, I'm going to do that. You can get caught in that analysis, and you don't do anything. You just don't let your hands go.
In all this, though?
Who's that?
Who I got my blueprint for camp? GSP.
Yeah.
He was the guy who watched video, very, very detailed. He even came up with a detailed game plan, and I trained very similar to him. My diet was similar to him.
Yeah. You're right, but I think that there was a simplicity to his approach in that, he's gonna kill you with his jab, and if you came into that range, if you beat his jab right by coming into that short range, He just double legged you.
Double leg the piss.
And so it was like, basically it was those two things. Jab, double leg. But you're right. It was very specific, or he'd get you up against the cage and grind you out. But it was still either wrestling or his jab or his like outside kicks or whatever. So he kept it simplistic, but the way that he trained was super specific.
He also got that way once he became champion. Like once he really was that way until he lost to Matt Serra, and then he became like I remember he used to have glasses of wine at dinner during camp, stuff like that. Lost to Matt Serra, that all went out the window. He even tightened things up even more after that. Because before that he had the nickname Rush. Ain't no one give him the nickname Rush after the Matt Serra fight. Because then he was very meticulous. He's very calculated. There was no rush. You got all 25 minutes GSP after that. You know what I'm saying?
He realized he's a big star regardless. So however he's going to fight, it's about winning at the end of the day. That's what's going to help his brand, and that's the way he fought. And he still had so many people that went out to support him. He was still getting million people to tune in for his fights.
Oh, for sure.
Despite,
no matter what.
No matter what. So.
See, I think, this is debatable. Brock Lesnar was around long enough and not healthy enough. I think GSP is the biggest star to walk away from the UFC.
He has sold more pay-per-views than anybody else. Overall, with all of his fights, I 100% agree.
I think that, obviously, who knows if he ever comes back. Even if he does one, which
he's coming back.
For sure?
Yeah.
You think so?
This year. End of this year. It won't not for UFC 200, but I think after that he will be maybe even for the New York card. Who knows? But I think
that'd be sick.
That for sure.
Who do you think he fights?
Man.
I'm assuming it's at 170.
That's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know. I think it's not. It could be at 170. I think it's probably going to be non-title fights that he's interested in. I think he's only interested
like a fight
in
with Anderson Silva.
I think something like that.
Anderson Silva would be the only one that makes sense. Anderson Silva or Conor, but the Conor thing, Conor would have to win his next fight, and then you have him versus Conor fight.
Right.
Bad matchup for Conor.
And I think I know that
Conor GSP.
Yeah, well, that's what I think was supposed to happen.
Me
I
too.
think that's what that would have been, dude. That would have been over 2 million pay-per-view.
That'd been the
for sure.
Biggest
That'd be the
UFC
biggest
fight
UFC
of all time.
100%.
God, that'd be amazing.
100%. And then maybe that's why Conor wants to fight at 170 against Nate. Maybe that's the fight he wants.
The only thing is, and I know it's easy to say this in hindsight, but you don't toss him Nate Diaz if you want to have him fight GSP in a super fight. You can't do that.
Conor asked for it. Conor wanted it.
That's why you have business managers. That's why Dana White's the president of the UFC. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just can't do that.
A Diaz brother isn't going down quickly.
No,
it's
the hero matchup. You don't think Mighty Mouse wants to fight Cain Velasquez? Can't do it, man. You can't fucking do it. Someone has to tell him it ain't happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with Conor, you're our biggest star. If you fight GSP, it's the biggest fight of all time. Right. Let's fight someone else that you could actually beat.
Call out Kenny Florian. He would have done it.
Dude, you'll
got
still
knocked
do
out
it.
in a round.
I will get my shit together and lace up my gloves to fight Conor McGregor. Just a huge mismatch.
Yeah.
Hey. I see. With GSP leaving, if he comes back, let's say it's just one or a super fight. GSP versus Anderson, that it's too old. It's over. Yeah. And you got Anderson fighting Uriah Hall. He probably doesn't beat Uriah. That's whatever. But I could Canada, because think how big of a market Canada is. Everyone talks about Vegas. Everyone talks about whatever, Australia, UK, as far as the capitals of the UFC. Toronto is the fight capital of the world. It really is. Toronto's
still the biggest card
fucking
of
huge.
all time. Still the biggest arena show, right?
We need Rory. Mm-hmm. They need Rory, man.
Yeah.
And obviously Rory fighting Wonderboy Thompson, which I think is a favorable matchup towards Rory.
I think it is too.
I really do. Everyone thinks Rory's gonna get smoked. I'm like, whoa.
That's a tough matchup for Wonderboy.
But after Wonderboy beat Hendricks, I was like, man, I hope he gets a title shot, because if they do give him Rory, it's the worst possible matchup at 170. There's no one worse for him.
Dude, 170 is bananas. When you look at, everyone says the same cliche thing. Styles make fights. But look at this at 170.
No, all 70 is fun.
Look at 170. It's insane because you look at the way Wonderboy matches up against Lawler. I think Wonderboy beats him.
Me too.
And then if you look at the way Rory matches up against Wonderboy, I think Rory could beat him. So, and then you throw Woodley into the picture.
Damian Maia, Wonderboy's a tough fight.
My goodness, dude. So it's
Woodley Maia's fun.
Yeah. So I mean, the 170 is bananas. 155 is crazy.
There's nothing like 170, man.
It's nuts. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
85 used to be thicker than a Snickers with talent, but then, your boy, the Cuban,
Yo Romero.
Yep.
Yeah. Yo
he got
Romero.
popped,
I know.
And then
he's out for a little bit.
Yeah. 85 used to be fun. Then you got Weidman, Rockhold 2, which I mean, it could be fun. Weidman's boy, I love Weidman. Everyone knows this. Rockhold's my boy, though. Mm-hmm. But Weidman's close friend, who's on the show all the time, Skylar Aston, was saying how terrible of a camp Weidman had. Really wasn't prepared, hurt, wasn't doing much. I'm like, what? When I hear that, that's what we talk about, where you get comfortable and you stop having that passion.
The other thing is, and I didn't know this. I don't know how I missed this news, but today on our podcast, he said he had he had his foot broken in 2 different places.
Weidman did?
I guess like 6 weeks before the fight. So that was another issue. And he's had a lot of injuries through his career. He didn't want to miss out on the payday, didn't want to miss the fight, had some pressure on himself to kind of like go out there and compete.
Of course.
And he was undefeated at that point with injuries before, and he's like, screw it, I'm going to go out there and I'll beat him anyway.
That's why I love him.
Didn't happen.
Yeah. He was doing well until he threw that terrible spinning back kick. I don't know.
Spinning back kick.
Whatever you call it. When he threw it, I went, man. And then it was just all downhill.
Yeah, he missed horribly on it. And listen, at the elite level, man, if you have a bad hair day, like
it's over.
Lose.
You get embarrassed. Especially at that level. You're thinking about something else for 1 second. It's over, man.
That's it.
Especially at that level.
You can't do it. So.
There's a bunch of fun matchups. I think I would like to see Rory beat Wonderboy. I've trained with both of them. Wonderboy trained with us forever in Denver. I love Wonderboy. You know this, Steven. But with Rory having 1 fight left on his contract, everyone knows I love the UFC, but I love the fighters even more. I loved it. That's why I love Conor McGregor so much, because he has so much power. So I always root for the guy with power who's beating the game, because it's so tough to do. You know how it is. Yep. So tough to beat the game. So I would love to see Rory win and test the free agency just to throw a curveball at the way the dynamics of the game is right now. I'm not trying to get in trouble, Kenny.
Sure.
You know I'm a little bit of a loose cannon. Yeah. Also, you want to meet the guy who pays my bills? Yeah, let me get him. Hey, what's up, man? Brendan Schaub. I pay all the bills here at Finding the Kid. He can say whatever the fuck he wants.
Oh, man, that's so good. Well, listen, here's the thing. I think for a fighter,
it's good for the game.
You want to get paid as much as possible, but it is a risk now, because for Rory, will that pressure kind of get to you? It's paid off for certain guys, and it hasn't paid off for certain guys. Even with wins, where Benson Henderson, how many guys are going to fight like a Benson Henderson at 155 or at 170? If you are one of you need to be super, super unique and talented to make it happen. I think Rory might be that talented. So
his issue is he doesn't have the personality. What he has is the fan base, and he's Canadian. Right. And obviously he's the number 1 welterweight in the world. He has those 3 things going for him, which are big.
He fights his ass off. He delivers. His fight against Lawler was maybe the greatest title fight of all time. One of the best fights of all time.
Top 3 for sure.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with that fight.
Me too. It's pretty great. Although his nose was so jacked
it was
up.
Insane.
But the thing is, with Rory, did that fight change him? Does Rory come back? Is he like JDS? Anyone who thinks Junior Dos Santos is the same after those 2 Cain fights is batshit crazy. He's just not the same. Yeah. He's just not. There's certain fights that change the way you fight or change you physically. They just do. Rory's young. He's been fighting forever, so I think he's going to be okay. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, he's had some time
It's a big test, though, man.
It is a big test. Wonder Boy is one of those guys, anytime you get a striker like a Wonder Boy or a Mark Hunt or whatever, they just need to get lucky once. All it needs is one shot, and that's it. I think Rory's got the game to beat Wonder Boy, though, because people forget how good Rory's wrestling is. Rory out-wrestled Tyron Woodley, who was an animal.
He out-wrestled Tyron Woodley, and then he also, in Metamoris, beat the brakes off. For the guy slipping my name.
JT Torres
beat the brakes off.
He did well. Listen, I
thought he beat the brakes off.
I thought Torres would have won, but he did. Dude, if you're hanging with one of the top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts in the world and you're not getting submitted and you're doing a good job, like he was going tit for tat.
He almost got submitted.
Yeah, but pretty bad. But like he had Torres and a couple heel hooks, so he can
play
hang
the game.
With guys. He didn't
run like I did. Yeah, play the game.
Yeah, he can hang with elite guys, on the ground. So he is so damn good. He's been fighting for a long time. I got a great story. I remember I went to Vancouver. I was in Kelowna, in his hometown, and I was doing a seminar, an appearance, or something like that, and I wanted to get some training in. And, been in the UFC a few years at that point. And they said, we got some kid who really wants to train with you. He'd love to move around. He's got a fight coming up. He'd love to move around with you. And I was like,
love
sure.
that.
I was
Move
like,
around.
yeah, all right, move around. And he's like, yeah, just little gloves, man. I was like, okay, I thought we were just going to grapple, but okay. And he's like, yeah, just little gloves. And I was like, okay. And this kid comes in, big kid, and he just like puts his mouth guard in. I'm like, oh, man, like this is the gloves. I'm big. He's 170 pounder, And
how old is he now?
So he was
15?
probably like, dude, he was like 18.
Acne everywhere?
He was like 18, yeah.
Monster.
And the round starts. Ding, ding. I fought for my life. Literally, it was a fight. It was like an unsanctioned MMA fight. This kid was trying to take my head off and wrestling like it was his last match. And that kid was Rory McDonald.
That kid was Rory McDonald.
That was Rory McDonald. Literally, I was like, nice fight, man.
You're trying to be cool.
Be good.
You got a big future.
I got some stuff to work on, but I would, like trying
You
to
want an autograph or something?
Yeah.
You good? I'll come back later.
Exactly. Like no emotion on this kid. And I was
Nothing,
like,
man.
I fought for my life.
The thing about Roy too is he does have a personality. It's not coming out on interviews. But me and Roy have spent a lot of time together. He's funny. Mm-hmm. He's very intelligent.
He is.
And he definitely knows the fight game and he knows the business. If someone can kind of put that together and package it right, I'm telling you, man, he could be the next GSP.
Yeah.
I've only had it once where a guy's done that, and he just he just recently signed with the UFC. His name's Tyler East.
Okay.
And he has a terrible background, but it sounds like he got his shit together and the UFC signed him. I never thought he was going to sign with the UFC. Mm-hmm. I just got to Jackson's. Yeah. And I was like, oh, what do we do? Wide-eyed kid. I just it was my, I think, second fight. I beat Chase Gormley, which was my first real fight. Right. And I was fighting Chris Tushisher, who's Brock Lesnar's training partner. So I go to fucking Albuquerque. Yeah. I'm there. I've been there before, but they're like, oh, we have heavyweights for you. Arlovsky, right. Tyler East. And I'm like, oh, what's today? And I thought it was just wrestling day. Like, oh, no, today's sparring. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I just drove here from Colorado. I'm all cramped up. But we'll figure it out.
No worries. Yeah.
And Greg Jackson goes, oh, you're going with Tyler. I'm like, who's Tyler? Yeah. And out comes this fucking kid who he's been there since 6 a.m. He's been waiting for Big Brown. Right. This is his day to shine. Licking his chops. Yeah. And even Arlovsky goes, make sure you keep your hands up. I was like, what? And I was like, I mean, he's a big kid, but whatever, man. I've gone with Shane Carr and everyone. I didn't really care. Yeah. He's sweating. He has a good sweat on. He has the Valley Tudo shorts on. But we jump in the ring. There's only one ring at Jackson. I don't know how the new one is, but there's only one ring. And I see everyone stop. Everyone stops what they're doing, and everyone else is supposed to be sparring, and they turn to the cage. Up. Yeah, I'm like, I'm kind of a big deal. Who saw the Chase Gormley knockout? How's everyone doing? I'll take pictures after. John Jones, how's it going, buddy? You want me to sign some shit later? We can take selfies, my man. Ding! And this fucking kid comes out like a straight banshee. I've never spinning elbows, spinning back kicks, spinning back fist. I was like, oh shit, it's not Snowflake. Like this dude was playing for. I was fighting for my life, man. And we got done. I was like, all right, man. And then even my coach was like, you can't go with that guy anymore. Dude, that dude is playing for keeps.
That's the thing. If you have a name.
I'll never forget Holly Holmes' face.
Yeah.
She was looking at me like, eesh. And they went, he does that to everyone. Yeah. I was like, oh, fantastic. Why isn't he in the UFC?
No one told you.
He has like 7 assault charges. I'm like, oh, fantastic. Yeah. He signed with the UFC.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. Why is he so sweaty and wide-eyed? You'll figure it out.
That's the thing is like, when you have a name and you're coming up like and you're sparring with guys, like you have a target on your back, man. Like that was the thing at TriStar. There'd be guys that they were licking their chops to go with you. They were licking your chops to go with GSP. So every time out, you were being pushed by these guys that are trying to take your spot because they wanted to be the guy that knocked out Kenny Florian or knocked out GSP or submitted you. You know what I mean?
I've never been that guy. When I was coming up, whenever I went with a bigger name, a tougher guy, I had so much respect. I was worried to get anything on him. Right. I remember the first time Rashad and I trained. It was in Rashad remembers this because he told me the story on The Ultimate Fighter before I fought Marcus for the semifinals to go to the finals. He told me the story. I didn't think he remembered. First time ever Rashad and I trained. We're in Boulder, Colorado at Amal Easton's gym, and Rashad was getting ready for Chuck Liddell, biggest fight of his life. Yeah. And everyone's wrestling Rashad. He's there. Greg Jackson there. Amal, Trevor Whitman, Nate Marquardt, Keith Jardine, myself. and everyone's wrestling with Rashad, and they want to be real careful because they don't want to get him hurt. It's like 2 weeks out from Chuck Liddell, biggest fight ever, right? And Greg goes, but Greg knew me because he cornered me a while before. We didn't even know each other. I just need someone help, and he cornered me. He's one of the best, right?
Yeah.
And Greg goes, Shab, why don't you help Rashad out, and once you guys wrestle, he needs a bigger body. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, just make sure he doesn't get hurt, but do your thing. Don't be so cautious, because he knew I was always cautious with Keith and Arlovsky and stuff. So I jump up, and we're going with him, and I'm like, God, I feel like there's a double leg there. I knew Rashad wrestled at Michigan State, blah, blah. I'm like, God, I feel like it's there. It's really my only move.
Yeah.
It was my only bag of tricks, and Rashad didn't see me wrestle, really.
Yeah.
And he's stepping forward. I'm like, man, I'm just going to go for it. It's probably going to help him if Chuck Liddell did this. Chuck never wrestles. Right. That was my mind thought. I'm like, I'm just going to fucking attack these legs. And so he steps forward, and I launch out of a cannon like Dana White's going to hand me a check if I take him down with the double leg. Well, I run this double leg so hard, there's cement blocks to the side. Why they were there, a mall, that's on you. There's cement blocks. I run them into the cement. Not my fault. I didn't see him. Dude, I'm running. I'm like, this is so sick. I'm running, and I run him into the cement blocks. He fucks up his back, and he goes, ah! And Greg goes, ah, shit. And I'm like, oh, no. I just injured Rashad Evans.
You just
my whole
got
career
him
is
his
over.
worst fight.
He was fine, and Rashad was super cool afterwards, but it was terrible, man. That's the one thing.
Who puts a cement block in the?
That's on a mall. That was on. I they were there. I forget why they were there. I don't some yoga shit. I don't know why they were there. But his back fell right on him. Out of all the things, I was so embarrassed. But yeah, man. Whenever I went with older guys, I was always so respectful because you don't want to be that guy. You get nothing from it. Because I remember in football, like there'd be a scout team and they would show you the play, right? So you do the play and someone messed up. They go, run it over. Well, you know the ball's coming. Some jackass would pick the ball off. And the coach would be like, oh, shit, practice All-American. Fantastic. So I always had that in me, like, you don't want to be that guy.
Right. Well, it's tough in fighting because, like, you don't know the other person's game. You know what I mean? You don't know their style. There's so many different approaches, and going with someone for the first time is a scary thing because you have no idea how they're going to come at you, the way that they're going to come at you, the energy level that they're going to come at you, you know, what their style is. It's tough for jiu-jitsu as well. That's why it's so important to go with as many people as possible. Even like the first time you go with someone, jiu-jitsu, whatever, it's a high-level guy, your emotions, you start breathing heavy, all that stuff. And that's why you want to get over that by just trying to train with as many people as possible. I still get it, man. And then,
me too.
Again, there's still guys that want to be the guy that tap Kenny
every
time
time
in training.
I think
and they do it every once in a while.
And they do it every once in a while. Wrestling. The most humbled I ever got was when I went with King Mo. I remember I was just like, "Are you from this planet?"
He's a freak wrestler.
He was literally like, just like pushing me over. When I went with DC, we were sparring, and he goes, "Do you want to incorporate takedowns?" I was like, "I guess." I felt like we're just doing striking, and he just was like. His balance, and he's like tripped me off. I was like, oh God. Like constantly getting tossed all over.
Right.
And then there's certain, in wrestling, it's not as badly get taken down, whatever. Those guys are Olympians. I expect that shit. If you're going with a high-level striker and he's that much better than you, it's dangerous, especially if he's playing for keeps. That's when you're in trouble. With jiu-jitsu, I went with Bushesha and a gi many times, that was pretty eye-opening. Yeah. And then without a gi, Braulio Estima. Yeah. I remember I was like, oh, shit. As well. Yeah. Oh, my God. When people ask me my belt, it's like, depends. If I'm with Braulio or Bushesha, white belt.
Right.
Literally.
They're freaks,
It will literally, you're like, no, that is the cream of the crop, my man. That's like playing basketball, and you're at the YMCA going against the rec kids, and you're like, I'm pretty good at basketball. Yep. And then LeBron James walks in, he's like, hey, one-on-one. That's what it's like when you roll with those guys.
There's no doubt. And it's humbling, you know, especially, you know, I've done jiu-jitsu for so long, and you train with some of these guys, and you know, the Hardra Gracies, and you know, the Braulios, and you know, Bushesha, all these guys, and it's just, you start to see all the different levels, and it's like, oh,
it's amazing, man.
That's where I need to be.
Do you still train a lot of jiu-jitsu? Like I see you all the time on Instagram, and you
dude, I'm competing in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
What?
I had 13 years. I haven't competed in a jiu-jitsu tournament or submission wrestling in 13
tournament?
years. It's an IBJJF tournament. It's called the New York Spring Open. It's the New York Open. It's going to be in New York, April 9th and 10th. And
next week.
Yeah, it'll be fun, dude. I'm going with older guys. It's going to be 30 to 35-year-old Masters 1. Even though I should be in Masters 2.
Yeah, I want you Masters 2 and roll up some old dudes.
I know I was going to, but then I was like, I'll go Masters 1. I want to get more matches.
It's all gi?
All gi, yeah. As of right now, I may jump in a no gi, but I may have a 7
amazing,
RT.
man.
Yeah, so it'll be fun, dude. I miss competing, and I've been training. So what the hell?
It's different for you. Like, I've thought about doing some of that. There's a little bit it might be different. Obviously, your ego is different than mine because there's a lot of pressure.
There is
You're Kenny Florian.
Well, it's the same thing.
Because no matter what you do there, you're Kenny Florian, the UFC fighter.
Right.
You're Kenny Florian on UFC Tonight.
Right.
You're Kenny Florian, the guy who has the podcast who reaches hundreds of thousands of people
Right.
who you're going to talk about how your experience went.
Yeah, no, for sure. And there definitely is that pressure. But for me, man, like at the end of the day, I don't even care. You know, I just want to go out there. I'm gonna try to wrestle a bunch of blank faces and just go for it, man. You know, like that's all I can do. Because if I worry about that, and it's the same thing. Like now that you were talking about the different perspective that you have being away from fighting. Now I see it differently. So I'm just like, man, it's just gonna be fun. Sometimes I feel myself like putting pressure on myself, but it's gonna be cool.
How often are you training?
When I can. I'm training. I don't know. 4 times, 5 times a week. So I'm not training like these young kids.
That's a lot, though, man.
Yeah, decent. For me, dude.
For you too, with a black belt experience, 5 times a week.
And dude, like
There train with high level guys, I assume.
Yeah. And when I retired in 2011, man, I couldn't train for like a year and a half. And I'd go and I'd train. I'd go to some gym and I couldn't move the same, and I'd be messed up for a month or whatever. So the last 6 months or a year, I've been finally like getting some consistency where I can train and flow and. My body feels much better. I'm moving the way I used to, and I feel like I'm improving, actually.
What weight is it?
It's good. Middleweight. So up to, I think with the gi, it's like 181.
So you haven't had to cut any weight?
No.
Dude, that's awesome. You're doing that, man.
Right now. So.
When I did Metamorphosis, I felt, it's probably me putting the pressure on myself.
Yeah.
I felt so much pressure, man.
Yeah.
I felt so much pressure from everyone because new and my contract was up with the UFC, and I was doing it because I love jiu-jitsu and Metamorphosis and the Gracies, and I was going against the number 1 grappler in the world, really.
Right.
And then my contract was up with the UFC, and I wanted to submit Mitrione, so it was kind of a training camp to get ready for Mitrione, which I ended up submitting him. So it ended up working in that respect, but as far as jiu-jitsu goes, so many people were so upset, and I get it, man.
Yeah.
And actually, I was doing an event this past weekend, the Honor Invitational, and one of his name slips my mind. I'm an idiot for forgetting. He's amazing. It's one of Cyborg's black belts. He rolls with him, and we were talking. I'm like, dude, you tell Cyborg I love him, man. Yeah. And we were just talking about how people think Cyborg and I hate each other, and we don't at all.
Right.
Cyborg was hurt, so that's why he was on his butt. Yeah. I want Cyborg to shoot. Sure. He couldn't, so it was like this weird.
It was the perfect
dynamic.
storm.
Yeah. But yeah, shout out to Cyborg, man. Let's talk a little bit about Bellator, and then we'll move on to current events. Bellator, man, I feel like what they're doing, they're trying to keep up with UFC as many shows as they're putting on, and it's a bad idea. If I'm Bellator, and I said this to Boss Amaro, I want to get your ideas because you're obviously balls deep in the UFC game, fight game in general, but if I'm Bellator, I do the exact opposite. I go back to the old UFC game plan, and I put on Super Bowl cards once a month. Stacked with my best talent once a month. Instead of these half-ass shows and these freak shows, I put King Mo, Phil Davis, Henderson, Page, Chandler. They have a Mitrione, Congo. They have all these Pitbull. They have all these monsters. I put them on. I do once a month Super Bowl cards instead of trying to keep up with the UFC.
Yeah, listen, I think that it's an interesting approach, and I think from like a purist MMA fan's perspective, which you're obviously a fighter, I agree. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, as much as, they do have some talent over at Bellator, they will still never be even close to the talent of the UFC. So what has their approach been is to kind of go the other way. We're going to put on these freak show events. We're going to have to we're going to get these crazy guys involved because they can't compete with the cards that the UFC can put on. So they're trying to go a completely different route and do that. And listen, I don't know what Kimbo Slice. It is, yeah. And the Kimbo Slice and the Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie fight. These are guys that are older guys, but they need names and they just need ratings. They just want to sell. And I get it, because at the end of the day, there's no way their cards can compete. Even with dude, with the cards that they're just having on fight nights, I don't think they can compete. They just don't have the talent base or the name, the name recognition yet. So the way that they do it, the way that they equal out is getting kind of the older fighters with the big names, and it's tough, man. They just don't have the same talent pool.
And remember, it's Viacom. So Viacom, they're really not too into the fight game. They're going, well, how are your ratings?
Right.
1.7 million or 2.7 viewers. So keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
They're really not worried about the quality of who's fighting.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if I'm Bellator, once a month, it's like, dude, Bellator, whatever. Bellator Super Bowl Series 2 is on tonight. It's just this blowout card, man.
From a quality perspective, you are 100% correct.
From a business, though,
from a business, I don't know if that's the best. I don't know if that's the best, approach. I don't know.
It is interesting. All right, man. Let's go to current events. Evan, the body, the cub, the bear, the otter. He has a ton of names. We can't figure it out.
That is a lot. You don't have the brain as your nickname. I tell you that.
Not too stupid for
Brain's
that.
special, man. The brain is a special name.
Yeah.
We have the fans. I always have the fans at the live shows. What should Evan's name be? They're starting to dig the otter.
The otter and the cub are the ones that are getting used a lot these days.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna have like the whole animal kingdom by the end of the year.
I like it.
What do you got, Ev?
At long last, finally, Chris Cyborg has a fight in the UFC.
Yes.
She's booked for UFC 198, which is not that far away. It's like 6 weeks away.
Jesus.
She's gonna fight Leslie Smith.
Rest in peace, Leslie Smith. It's at 135 or catch weight?
It's at 40. 140
Okay,
catch
rest
weight.
in peace, Leslie Smith. And I like Leslie Smith. Who the fuck is fighting Cyborg? Have you ever seen her fight?
Oh yeah.
That bitch will.
Dude,
her face will stop a clock. And she will punch your face off.
She's a beast, dude. I mean, Cyborg.
Whole women's division.
She's a problem.
Fucked.
She's a problem. Well, here's the thing. I don't think there's any way that she can make 135. It's going to be a catch weight at 140. But what do you do with her now? She can barely make 45.
You make every girl fight her at 140 because it's the super fight.
I mean, yeah.
You want to know the fight I want to see, and I might take some heat for this. I want to see her versus Uriah Faber. Straight up, she's the ononly girl that can fuck with a dude. Have you seen the way she when she whooped freaking Carano's ass? I was like, oh hell no.
She's a problem.
Problem.
She's a problem.
What the fuck are we gonna do? My honest opinion, I like Cyborg as a person. I think she's an amazing fighter. From a business perspective, if I'm the UFC, I think it's a mistake.
Really?
I think it's a mistake. How many little girls? This is fucked up to say, but how many little girls can look at Cyborg? She's going to dominate the division. No one's beating her.
Yeah.
The drug testing could be an issue for her. We'll see. Yeah. How many little girls can look at her and go, "Oh my God, I look just like her. I want to fight."
Right.
Nah, bitch, you don't look like her. You also don't hit like her. She looks like Uriah Faber with a tan. Good luck beating her.
She's tough. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Tough is being friendly. Tough. No, but she knocks bitches out.
She does, dude. She's unbelievable, and I think that, but there is a market for that extremely dominant
it's in
fighter.
Japan,
but
it's called Japan.
I know, and I know what you're saying. You want someone who's relatable, right?
You should take Paige Van Ants.
Yeah, and the other thing is now, first of all, Leslie Smith was not the first option. There was, at least from what I hear, 3 or 4 women that were like, "Yeah, I'm good. I like my body the way it is."
Everyone was like, "Oh no, I'm good."
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna sit you out for a year. That's fine.
It's my dad's birthday. I got.
Oh man, my dog just got sick.
Yeah. Oh,
the fight's 8 weeks away. Oh, what day did you say? No, fuck, that's my birthday, man.
Right. So that Leslie Smith. Kudos to Leslie Smith for taking this fight.
You know who's the best matchup? I don't mean to cut you off, Kenny. Who's a great matchup for Cyborg? That this is your fight. Holly Holm.
Because she's a counter fighter.
She's a counter fighter.
And she's a big 35er.
She has good footwork. That's the fight.
Yeah.
See, and it's all about matchups because Holly versus Cyborg, I'll take Holly all day. I think she picks her apart. Probably doesn't. She might knock her out, but it's gonna be a really, really, really entertaining fight. You can sell the shit out of that. Yeah. Cyborg versus Misha, tough fight. Tough fight for Misha. Ronda versus Cyborg, tough fight for Ronda. But Holly, I like the way Holly matches up with her. Good luck, Russian. Holly.
Out of those women that you mentioned, I know that at least one of them was offered the fight against
It'd be-
Cyborg, and they said no.
I would assume it was. Dang, Kenny! No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
That's what I heard. But
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard. And they said, "Now we're good. We're gonna.
makes sense.
We're gonna hold. Hold
Has
on
Vada
that.
tested her yet? No, I'll wait. Let's see how she does it. How about Leslie Smith? Kudos to her.
Dude, imagine like
Let's
she's
toss
like,
her a
yeah,
bone,
let's
though.
do it.
Hey, UFC,
Scrap
let's
pack, man.
toss a bone for taking that fight.
Scrap pack. They'll take fights. That's for sure.
She was the one that got her ear knocked off, right?
yes.
There goes that nose, son.
Yeah.
First it was the ear, now it's the nose.
That's a tough one. It's a
Oh
tough
my
fight.
God.
Yeah.
That's like she's the Mike Tyson of girls.
She's a beast.
And listen, I think she's insanely talented. She's
Yep.
so talented.
She is.
She should be in the UFC. She's probably the best female fighter in the world.
Yeah.
It's tough, man, because she's going to run through all your pretty girls.
Yeah.
She's going to run through all your pretty girls like an NBA basketball player strip club.
This guy's not sparring with Cyborg.
Hell no. I would double leg that bitch so fast.
Yeah, I'd be running around.
Dude, Tony Hinchcliffe, Rogan's boy, who opens up for Rogan, has a special on Netflix called One Shot. Buddy, he's been on the show. He talked shit about Cyborg. She
heard.
found out,
I heard.
tweeted him, "I'm coming up to the Comedy Store. You better have your mind right," or something like that. This fool was like, "Damn, I don't know what to do."
Yeah.
I said, "Don't call me." I said, "You better run."
It was mean what he said, though. It was mean.
I forget what he said.
It was something about her having a dick.
Yeah.
See, that's where I draw that. He is a comic, but that's where I draw the line a little. I joke around and saying she fight Uriah Faber, not because she looks like a man,
Right.
because she hits like a man.
Right.
She hits
And-
like a man. And
yeah.
she's pretty in her own right. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
What
And
I'm
she's a sweet person. I've
I've met her.
Like the nicest
She's so nice.
girl ever.
She's
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very nice. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, again, people, well, fighters need to fight. I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm take that out. Take the equation. Take that out. Take marketing, pure marketing.
Right.
It's going to be tough to sell
I get it.
Cyborg
I
with
get
that
it.
face.
I can see that. I get it.
And literally, when you see her fight, you're like, holy shit, that's vicious. When I watch Holly, when I watch Misha, Ronda, I'm not like, oh my God, that's so vicious. I'm just not. I'm like, that's a pretty girl, super talented. I watch Cyborg, she's playing for keeps. Most girls don't play for keeps like that.
Right.
Girls are going to enter the octagon, they're going to leave not the same. Anyone who needs a nose job, go ahead and sign up. Free
Yeah.
nose jobs from Cyborg.
If you last more than 10 seconds.
Still get a nose job out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably
Or
right.
an air job.
You're
What
probably
else you
right.
got? That's amazing. Do we know her pay at all?
Her pay?
Yeah.
No idea.
'Cause she came from Invicta, right?
Which so Invicta owned by Zuffa. So she signed to Zuffa, or she's signed by Zuffa, but not to the
This is the
UFC
first one.
technically. So this is her first UFC fight, obviously, and they're making a whole division for her. But that's the thing, at 140 or 145, you can't sustain a division off 145
No, there's
pounds. There's just not
three of
enough.
them in the world.
Yeah, there's just not
three.
enough of them. So
You can-
she's in a weird place. It's
This
like,
to me, this is a little alarming if you're a women's MMA fan, because this is the UFC saying, "Fuck, all right, bring it on board."
Yeah.
Because who knows what's going on with Ronda? Who knows what's going on with
and
Holly?
she's a star in Brazil, dude. Yeah, I mean, like she's got a
Superstar.
following. She's got a following.
She's been whooping
You
ass
know,
for a
amongst
very
the
long-
hardcores. She's got a following.
Once she hit
There's no
Gina,
doubt.
I was like, "Oh hell no!" I'll never forget that. How dare you hit Gina like that? Gina, holla at your boy, Abra in the shop at the Fighting the Kid. What do you got, Ev?
I don't think anyone that has seen that fight feels any different. Like we all remember, like when we saw that fight, like, it was like the gnarliest thing.
Hey,
we've ever
that's
seen with
Gina.
women.
Stop that.
It's like, oh, look at Gina, man, she looks good. Oh my God!
Brutal stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so next current event, Johnny Case, who's a lightweight fighter. Are you familiar with him, Shab?
He just fought Jake Matthews in Australia.
Oh yes,
Yes.
that was a good scrap.
Yeah,
Really
that
good.
kid.
Matthews is a beast, super prospect.
Johnny Case is trying to get on next season of The Bachelorette. He's actually full on in talks with the producers to be on the next season of the show.
They need a real dude up there.
Wow.
They need a real dude because
Interesting.
they have all these guys up there and they're all fake. They're like, I'm just looking for love.
Right.
And don't let me on that show. They're like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I
He's-
could see you on that show though. Like
Dude.
you'd be like the guy. Yeah, I could see that.
It would get biggest ratings of all time because I'd be real as fuck.
It'd be fun. It'd
Be real
fun.
as fuck.
It's funny you should say that.
They always have the token black girl on there. They always have like the token Asian girl on there. I'd be like, I'm not into Asians next. You're too white for me next. Like, dude, you can't do that. You got to wait for the rose. No, I'm not waiting for the rose. There's no connection right now.
Oh man.
It's funny that you say that because Quote from Johnny Case: "They better not try to act tough in the house because I'll fucking slap a motherfucker in the face."
I love this kid already.
That's funny,
That's why he
dude.
probably won't make the show.
Johnny Hollywood Case.
They don't need that shit on The Bachelor. Did
That's
you ever
great.
see? So I watched the very beginning, once like the first dates. I love that train wreck. I miss all the middle bullshit, and then I'll watch the end, like the post show where they're like supposed to get married. Did you ever see when Homeboy? I forget the host. You know the host's name?
Nah.
I forget his name. The basic white dude who does all the shows. But he called out some girl on The Bachelorette. He said something like, do you feel bad for calling out Janine about her having a boyfriend? And this girl blew up because it's live. Yeah. She goes, "What are you talking about? You blew up my friend, and you guys hung out. You're married with kids, and you and my friend dated for 2 months."
No way.
On air, and he was like, "We're gonna go to commercial break." Yeah, man, blew his shit up. It was awesome.
Wow.
It was awesome. I think he's
Live
divorced.
television.
Yeah, I think he's divorced now.
Oh.
It was amazing. She was like, "Do what? What are you talking about?
was
You're
it?
cheating
Like
on your wife."
recently, or-
No, like 3 years ago,
a
probably.
few years ago,
He's,
okay.
She was like, "What? What are you talking about? You talking shit about me? You're the one dating my best friend. You're married with 2 kids."
Yikes.
Commercial.
Yeah.
Literally, like it was that fast. Came back and he was like, "Janine had to leave for personal reasons."
Right.
Yeah, they removed her
something
right
suddenly
away.
came up.
I think
Yeah.
he killed her.
Yeah.
What else you got,
She's
Ev?
floating in a river somewhere.
Dude, that's nuts. I hope he makes it.
Yeah, it'd be pretty awesome,
You know,
right?
there was an employee from the UFC on Bachelor. The black dude. Last year.
Oh, wow.
Employee of the UFC. Yeah,
Did
yeah.
not know
He
that.
went pretty far, too. I forget his name. Good dude, though. He was great on the show.
Huh.
The
Okay.
show's such bullshit. What else you got?
Yeah. The biggest story of the day by far, John Jones getting 5 tickets in one traffic stop. Apparently the cop accused him of attempting to drag race a Cadillac.
Yes.
Me and Kenny watched the video of there's the body cam footage from the cop.
Sick.
Oh,
How'd
it
go?
got heated.
Really?
Oh, it got super heated.
It's funny.
White
dude.
cop?
Yes.
This is in Albuquerque?
Yes.
Yes.
So is it a CTS Cadillac? What are we talking about?
No. So Jones was in a Corvette, like a souped-up Corvette, like
Sick.
had like the custom rear spoiler,
Like a
all
ZR1 or
done
something?
up.
Z06?
Yeah. I think it was Z06, like the souped-up version.
Hells yeah.
And a beautiful car, fast. As hell,
Corvette
obviously,
guy, yeah.
and I don't even think he claims he wasn't even drag racing. Like there wasn't even another car like nearby.
It's probably
right?
a loud exhaust.
He's saying that John was on MMA Hour today, and he said, "I pulled up to a red light. The car next one over was like obviously like fans like gesturing towards him or whatever. So he just like revved his engine at them like just like,
Yeah, like,
smiled.
what's up?
Yeah, like,
I'm
exactly.
John Jones, bitch.
Yeah, like, just like a little what's up. And then 10 yards from the never floored it, nothing, just went off, and the cop immediately pulled him over. And apparently, technically, you can get arrested for drag racing.
100%.
Technically, if you just rev your engine, you don't have to floor it. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I got pulled
Yeah.
over for revving my engine one time.
Damn.
Yeah.
In your
Technically, you
GT3?
can still get down for
No,
it.
different car. It was in Boston. Yeah.
But yeah, he called the cop a fucking pig and a liar. So if if that counts as heated to you,
You can't
I
do
guess
that.
you could
What
say
was
it
the
got
cop
heated.
saying to him?
Oh, what was the line?
He
Kenny?
said he's like he goes, "How do you sleep?" John Jones told the cop, he's like, "How do you sleep at night?" He goes, "Mainly on my left side, sometimes on my back."
The cop said that?
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's great. This guy's fucking great.
Yeah, but like so it was all recorded. But like,
Was John being
here's
a dick?
the thing. Well, he wasn't
upset.
being a dick until the cop really was. He was giving him like, "Oh, well, what were you doing?" What was he saying? He was kind of like. He didn't know who he was.
Oh, really?
And he just saw a black guy in a Corvette, and I feel like that's where his questions were going to. Right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but that's what I saw. And then Jones started like increasingly getting upset because he was like, I saw you were drag racing. That's why I pulled you over. And he's like, I wasn't drag racing. What are you talking about? And
I'm on
the
John's
cop,
side here.
And the cop was the cop was a little out of line. He's being a little bit aggressive, and then
bit of a
John
power
started
trip.
giving and John started giving it back to him. But listen, I know the cop's kind of just doing his job, but like, is he profiling?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It came across as like,
I got to be
I don't know,
honest.
the cop
Hey,
was-
John, I think you should just do your camps in Albuquerque. Maybe live somewhere else, man. obviously Albuquerque's not working out in your personal life. I know he said it's great to be training, stuff like that. Sure as fuck can't go to New York and wreck Bentleys with hose in them. You know, you can't do that. Maybe move to Iowa or something.
Oh, he said something. What did he say? He goes, why is your car so loud? And he's like, it's a sports car. That's why. And it was like, you know.
Especially with his background already. He's probably a little defensive, and the cop's being a dick.
Right. And the cop, I think, was like, I don't know.
The cop was definitely being antagonistic.
He absolutely was.
You're batshit crazy if you don't think that cop knows who he is. Especially after the big Albuquerque thing. Everyone knows who John is. Whether you're a fight fan or not, you know who he is.
Then maybe that makes it more messed up. I don't know.
That's tough, man. Hey, John, move out of Albuquerque. They're obviously gunning for you, my man.
Yeah.
Again, he's ready to go. He's ready. All we do is need a broken arm and a car chase. He's ready to go. What else we got, dude? How about I don't want to ruin it before you get to it. What was your next event?
That was 3. That was
all right. Perfect.
Go for it.
How about and you would know better than anyone. There's rumors, and John tweeted out people saw DC at a wrestling event, barely able to walk.
Someone said that. I don't know what the deal is. Now, it could be, you know, obviously we all get sore during training camp sometimes. Like right now, I'm kind of waddling a little bit.
Can't ever not walk, though.
If you can't walk, I don't know. Maybe he took a leg kick. Maybe he's got a knee injury. I don't know. I haven't talked to DC. Not that if I knew that he was injured, I would say something.
I know this.
I don't know.
I know DC's
gonna give him a call.
Way too smart. Whoever's listening to this, and this is what I told Rogan this morning. Me and Rogan were talking about. DC is way too smart if he's injured to show up to a wrestling tournament not being able to walk, and that's breaking the news. He's way too smart for that. He would not, if he can walk, he would have done it before. He wouldn't show up to this thing and let everyone see him because he knows, his public eye, stuff like that right now.
That's why
he's
I
too
think
smart for it. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think it's like a knee injury or something like a major injury. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think it's
DC's too smart. He might be sore. Right. Maybe he took a hard leg kick. I guarantee he shows up for the fight.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be mad if, I love DC. DC knows this. But I wouldn't be mad if Anthony Johnson had to fill in, though.
That's fight.
That's
fight. And again, styles make fights, and that's a style that is interesting.
And I love DC, but we've seen that fight. Like to me, I don't get it.
Right.
The story really is John, has he been lifting, eating Cheerios and not doing cocaine? That's the story. You know what I'm saying?
Anthony should be in training camp regardless.
I agree.
Like if I'm that number 3 guy, you know what I mean? I'm hitting pads right now.
100%. I'm staying kind of, I'm in third gear right now.
A little just in case.
Yeah, I'm literally just staying there.
Yep.
But that's the fight. And then I think John beats let's say everything goes the way the Vegas has it, odds. I'm not picking anyone here, but let's say John beats DC. Yeah. Then you have a super fight between John, maybe Cain, John Verdum, super fight at New York, Madison Square Garden. Because he has to fight.
Big.
And
supposedly he wants a quick turnaround. I mean, Jones, I think, also kind of expressed, I believe, that he also wants a quick turnaround. Like he may even want to be on that 200 card too.
Let's see how this fight.
Exactly. And that's the thing.
Let's not count. I've heard him say
DC. I probably would want a little more of a break, and want to be on that. New York
Let me ask you this, Kenny. You would know, obviously on UFC Tonight, head anchor. Shout out to UFC Tonight. Is Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz confirmed?
Nate was acting like it was not confirmed.
That's what I've heard. Most people tell me it's not for sure, and everyone's jumping to it.
And he is not happy that it's at 170 because Nate feels like a lot of people are throwing out the excuses of like, oh, well, he fought you at 170. That's why you won. Nate really wants this fight at 55. And Conor, I don't know if it's his pride getting through or if he does want a big fight against the GSP or a Robbie Lawler. He keeps talking about those guys that he wants this fight at 170. He's adamant about 170. But I feel like you're giving Nate Diaz so many advantages. You're giving him a full camp Nate Diaz and at 170 pounds.
And confidence now. Oh, and he has money now. And now he's going to get more money.
Exactly.
And you're going to give him an entire camp, and it's at 170.
So for Nate, he's like, hey, I'll take it. I'll take the rematch.
It's an easy payday for it. I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
If I'm Dana White, I'm like, ain't happening. I don't care how bad you want it. Let's fight Frankie at 45. If you want a super fight, then we'll do that. But there's no more fights at 70 for you. Unless it's with GSP, you ain't fighting at 70.
Unless it's kind of, and Nate also feels like at 170, he has a built-in excuse that's saying, well, I lost at 170, so now I can go to 55 or I can go to 45.
Nate's not that guy, is he,
if it's at 55 and he loses, he's not
Nate's not that guy. Nate's just like, let's do it. We're at whatever weight you want.
Yeah,
kind of. Give him a full camp. I just don't see how, and everyone knows I love Conor, man. I'm the biggest Conor fan. But if I break down that tape, I'm looking at it going, I don't see how you're going to beat this guy. Yeah. You threw the kitchen sink at him in that first round. You hit him with everything.
Right.
It did not affect him in the least bit.
Now, here's what's interesting. All signs are pointing to that rematch. Of course, this has been reported for a while. But the odds for the fight came out today. And who do you think's the favorite?
Connor's
the favorite. By a little bit. I think it's like Nate's like plus 125.
That line's going to change very fast.
Conor is minus 145 or something like that. But so it's close, but interesting to see that still, even at 170. At 170, it was, minus 145, I think, for Conor, plus 125 for Nate or something like that. And then at 55 was even a bigger advantage for Conor.
Man.
For Conor.
That's fucking nuts. I look at that fight and I'm just like, it doesn't take anything away from Conor. I'm like, oh, he's too big. Use the kitchen sink at him. Nate Diaz is the perfect matchup for this. He's just going to keep coming. He's ridiculous on the ground. If he gets you down, it's over. Right. He's just too big. Go back to 45, even 55. You're still the Mystic Mac. You're amazing.
Right.
You do it again and you lose again. Now that trash talk ain't cute.
Unless, and I don't know. This is, it could be that we haven't heard anything from Conor's camp or anything like that. But could it be that Conor had something going into that fight? Maybe he had an injury. Maybe he had
But I feel like we know because, like, with the Max Holloway fight, we're like, that's weird one decision. Right. He's like, oh, yeah, I blew out my knee.
Right. I know. And that's the thing.
I just don't get.
There might be something there, and that's why the odds are in his favor. I don't know.
So let's say Conor beats Nate Diaz. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to do it a third time. Now it's 1-1.
Well, here's the thing.
And Nate's not a title holder.
Right. And if you're looking at a 1.4, 1.5 million buys on the first pay-per-view, I assume UFC 200 is going to be even more. Mm-hmm. And then if you do the second match and Conor wins, there's going to be a trilogy.
There has to be.
Poor Frankie Edgar is going to be like,
oh no, the belt at 45. You just gotta give that up.
He's got to vacate it because it's not fair to guys like Frankie and Aldo. They should just have Frankie and Aldo fight.
That's what I'm saying. Until Conor figures out shit. Right. I'll tell you what you can't do. You can't do Conor versus Dos Anjos. Yeah. I'm not trying to see that fight. To me, after seeing versus Nate and Conor, and dude, I'm the biggest Conor fan. After seeing that, I'm like, God, Dos Anjos is such an animal.
But what if Conor goes out there? I don't know. I don't think this will go down. But what if he goes out there and dominates Nate, finishes him like first, second round?
Now we're talking.
Right? And then if he beats it, and let's say he fights Nate again in the trilogy and wins again, maybe it makes sense. But you're right. If he loses to Nate, he can't go to 55. He's got to go to 45.
I just didn't see I didn't see anything in that fight where I'm like, oh no, Conor, he can win this. Yeah. Because when he outstruck him, you look at the counter-strike numbers that first round, I'm like, damn, Conor's tearing this dude up. Right. I look at Nate, I'm like, damn, it's really not phasing him. He's just too small to do damage to him.
And that's Nate. I mean, Nate got a phone call. He's on a boat drinking tequila 10 days before the fight. So he literally had no sparring for the match. He maybe hit pads like 3 times. Because by the time, you know how it is, 10 days they call you for a fight. Oh, you're on a boat. You have to call all your coaches, training. By the time he actually had training, it was like 7 days out. He's in Vegas.
He had about 4 days to get a sweat on. Then also what bothered me about that fight is Diaz landed really one good straight.
That 1-2.
The straight 1-2.
Rocked him.
Had him on Queer Street. I was like, shit. Man, that I see that, and Nate's he's not a knockout artist. Right. So I see that, I'm like, hey, it's just too big.
Right.
Don't fuck up Mystic Mac, make him fight at 170 all the time. Don't do this, man.
Yeah.
Mystic Mac Cyborg, though, I'll take it. That's super interesting, man. Let's go to fan questions. We had a ton of them, Kenny.
Oh, you love Cyborg, dude.
She's so ruthless. She knocks someone's head off. Let's get those Reebok pumps going on Cyborg, though.
All right. First fan question. So we already talked about the John Jones thing, but this guy's question is, what does this guy have to do to be thrown out of the UFC? Feels like a little bit.
Why would you throw out?
Do you want John Jones thrown out of the UFC? Is that what you want?
He hasn't done anything. Well, hit a pregnant lady and then run from the scene. If you're going to get thrown out, that'd be the time.
Yeah. Listen, this isn't the first time that a professional athlete has done these things on this
Ray
level.
Lewis killed a guy. Ray Lewis killed a guy.
I mean, yeah. And the other thing is like, should he get kicked out of the UFC for revving his engine? Is he the first guy to get stopped by a police officer and get a ticket? I know there's other things at play, but like maybe these are just. Listen, I think John Jones, could he be more responsible? Yeah, absolutely. But there's a lot of people. You're right, but there's a lot of people that get, Traffic citations.
Yeah, you talking about the Dark Knight, John Jones. That's what we need. He just needs to embrace that.
Right.
And his whole shirt,
He was born at the wrong time.
Dude,
he should have been born in
I
like
agree.
the 1400s, you
Dude.
know, and he should be.
He should have a shirt
destroying
that says,
people on a
wait till they
battlefield.
get a load of me. John Jones DC 2. Have his face as the... What? He just needs to
He can play
embrace
it up.
that
Yeah,
shit.
he can break. Yeah,
And
he kind of is. He kind of is.
He
a little
kind of
bit now.
is.
Yeah.
And when he did the Q&A, well, kind of the confrontation thing, like the one-on-one with DC, Rogan in the middle, and him, you look at him like, oh, that's a scary dude.
I felt bad for DC. DC, I love you, man.
I love
but
DC.
He got tooled on that.
Yeah, man. +1 for John Jones.
Jones was-
You want to be the alpha. You ain't the alpha, and you know it. I was like...
Dude, he was so serious.
Say it again.
He was
Mufasa.
so serious.
And DC was like, dude, I love DC. He's like, you better kill me in there if you want to win. And John's like, all right, I'll kill you.
better be prepared for
He was
that.
like,
He said, "You better be prepared."
die."
Dead serious.
Yeah, but I'm gonna kill you. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
And
don't ask. Don't entice anymore, man. Don't encourage this shit.
By the way, that shit was so real. DC he called me after that, and he was there that weekend. He goes, John Jones and his brothers and his team and my team almost went at it like 5 times.
I heard after the show.
No cameras.
That's what Joe
nothing
said.
Around. They almost went at it like at least.
Rogan
5
said
times.
after they just kept going.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
John,
yeah,
but
yeah.
John's like, you know how you're like, fuck you, man, I'm gonna beat you. John's like, I'm gonna beat your ass. It's like, oh, he's dead serious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like whenever I talk shit, I wasn't serious. I was like, hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully you guys watch this.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, John believes that shit.
Right. No, oh, yeah.
Oh, and he gonna do it.
Dude, think about it. Like, he's still a professional fighter, an active professional fighter. He was forced out of not being able to compete for a little while. He's been wanting to punch someone for a long time.
He's so serious.
You know what I mean?
He's
just
so gnarly to me. I just
Yeah,
don't
he's
see
tough,
who's
dude.
gonna beat him
He's
at
tough.
light heavyweight or heavyweight. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're a dick rider." Maybe, man. Tell me who's gonna beat him. Anthony Rumble. Nope. He will break Anthony Rumble in less than a round. He will take him. He will trip him, take him down, and whoop his ass.
In DC's defense, though, when you look at a common
If you say
opponent, and I
UFC
know it
jitters,
doesn't
I'm
make
gonna
sense.
break
And
your
I
mic.
know it doesn't
I'm
make
gonna break
sense.
your mic.
This doesn't always make sense, but when you look at a common opponent in Alexander Gustafsson, right? He beat Gustafsson way worse than John Jones beat him. Now, granted, I know
you
what
ready for that
happened with
MMA
John
math?
Jones.
You
I
ready
know.
for- Here's your MMA math.
No, I know.
However,
I know.
when
He only
DC
trained-
and John fought,
Right, no,
here's
of
your
course.
math.
You're right.
Here's the equalizer.
But that fight was
He beat-
closer than people remember. No, go back and watch that fight. No, listen, I'm telling you. Listen, did John Jones win?
Yeah, he's your friend.
Absolutely won the fight.
Yeah, he's your
No, but
co-host.
go back and watch that fight
Yeah, I know.
because it was closer than you think. And I think that the other thing is people forget when DC was coming up, he was the guy that everyone said, maybe that's the guy. I think that might be the guy to beat John Jones. He was slamming people on their heads and all that stuff.
Dan Henderson.
I think that here's the thing. In order for DC to do it, he has to have a drastic change in the way he approaches someone like John Jones.
And you
it's
think
not gonna
at
be
his
easy.
age he's going to have the tools to make
That's
that
the
change.
problem.
And here,
That's the
what did he
problem.
say
Maybe.
when he left John Jones? He goes, "Well, I didn't have Cain in camp, and I had some UFC jitters at that
Doesn't
level."
have Cain again.
Doesn't
I
have
know.
Cain again.
I
That's
know.
gone.
It's tough.
And
There's no doubt.
What's DC brings world class pressure. He has great striking, great grappling.
Mm-hmm.
What's he gonna do different? Kicks? What are you gonna do to John that he hasn't seen? The only one who's gonna bring something different to the table this time is John.
It's probably John. Well, yeah, and that's the problem.
That's
This
the
guy,
X factor.
He evolves all the time, and he's so unpredictable. And for a fighter, if you don't know what the other guy's going to do, bye.
It's just tough.
It's
man.
tough. It's tough with a guy like John, and then his natural gifts, and then the fact that he has an amazing chin, the fact that this guy will not quit. Whether you're breaking his limb or hitting him in the face, or whether he's cut, it doesn't matter. Or whether he only trained 10 days for a fight, he's not going to give up.
Sometimes 6.
It's
Depends who he's
crazy.
fighting.
It's
If it's
crazy.
Bader, he's gonna just walk fresh in.
It's crazy, but at the end of the day, DC will be a Hall of Famer.
100%. I'm not taking anything away
and the
from
pressure
DC.
is still on John in
I
some
disagree.
ways. You know, you don't think so?
Pressure's on DC. For John, he's just a bad dude. He got caught up again.
Yeah.
He's still world class. He's already beat him.
Doesn't have the belt.
Doesn't have the
technically,
belt.
yeah.
DC keeps saying he's champ. You know, it's just
But he's
you
gotta
look at
redeem himself,
But
though.
this
He
is
needs
the
to,
this
you
is
know?
the problem. When they fought, when John took him down, especially that last takedown, and
the hand
he
on the head.
he posted the picture where you can see the break in DC's eyes. It
Yeah.
was heartbreaking for me. I
Yeah.
was like, damn. When he took DC down,
It
I was
screws
like,
a wrestler up.
Holy
man.
fuck!
When a wrestler, when you think, okay, this is the best thing that I do. I am the best wrestler in the UFC, or I'm the best wrestler in the division, and you go out there and they beat you at your own game, it just destroys you mentally. Like if you go like on the ground is where I got this guy, and you're sitting there mounted by a dude, you're like, well, I'm out.
It's just tough,
Game over.
man.
It's
And
tough.
I love DC, man. I'd love to see him do it. I just think John's the best enter in the octagon.
He
and
might be
this
the
just
best
isn't
fighter
the
to ever
fight.
walk.
I
the
think
earth.
so.
I mean,
I
he
think so.
probably is.
So far.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
What else you got, Ed?
All right, Kenny has been seen in a gi a lot lately preparing for a competition. Brendan, do you ever wear a gi? If so, do you have a specific brand you like?
Well, Kenny's obviously doing it because he's getting ready for competition, but you were doing it anyways.
I wear it to
I always see
restaurants,
you.
clubs.
It's your go-to.
Outside. It's the
Your
new
wife.
thing. You're
Just
gonna
the
see,
gi top.
In 2 years, everyone's going to have a kimono. Watch.
Sometimes
I'm
just
that
the gi
ahead of
top.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
you
would
train in the gi.
all the time. Yeah, if, at the Grace Academy, it's usually unless I'm
that.
training with Lyoto on Saturdays, which he's getting ready for camp. That's no gi. But other than that, if I'm at the Grace Academy, they force me to wear a gi, and I like wearing a gi. That's real jiu-jitsu to me. And it also people think it doesn't translate to no gi. It does, because when I wear a gi, my defense is so much better when I go no gi.
It's like checkers and chess,
Yeah,
right?
man.
It's making it that much more complex when you have a gi. And you look at all the best guys that are winning the submission wrestling tournaments. I mean, they're all trained in a gi at some point and still trained in a gi. The Marcelo Garcias, the Buchechas, all these guys come from the gi background, and there definitely are benefits there. And show your role is the gi to get.
Boom. And also to get for a big guy like me who's
you can get
who's
one.
athletic, the gi slows down my athleticism, so I have to work on technique more.
Yeah.
So it's way better. If
A lot
you're-
more
if-
thinking,
if you're a
yeah.
guy who's really athletic and you get away being strong and fast and stuff like that, wear a gi, because then it neutralizes a lot of things, especially if you go with a guy who's good with grips and stuff like that.
Complicates it a lot more. You got to think a lot more.
Yeah. What else you got, Ed?
All right, next one. RG3 is headed to Cleveland. Your thoughts?
You're a football fan, can you know?
No, not on that level.
Soccer guy.
I know who RG3 is.
Yeah. You're balls deep in soccer.
He's a great soccer player, RG3.
A hell of a
That's all
tennis
it is.
player.
Yeah.
Listen, man, RG3, anyone knows RG3, his issue isn't his talent. It's, from what I hear, close sources, he's a dick. He's hard to deal with. So in Washington, people just didn't like him. When someone didn't like you that much, they stop blocking for you. It's the Willie Beeman. You know what I'm saying? He's basically he's Willie Beeman. So him going to Cleveland, if you thought Washington was a rough ride, dude, Cleveland's going to be way worse, and they just lost their top tackle. So RG3, he's in trouble, man. He's in trouble. I'm not a huge Browns fan. I'm a Broncos fan. I hope they get Kaepernick, because I think Kaepernick could be a solid fit in Denver. So I think RG3, that train has sailed, man. His attitude screws him.
Huh.
Next one.
Yeah.
All right, this is from the same guy who fired off some really
his
good
name?
questions. B. Wardle 33.
Boom.
In their prime, who got more ass? Bruce Puffer or Brian Callen?
Shit, that's a good question. Bruce Buffer now is killing the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was at Scopa. I think I told the story before. I was at Scopa.
Had 8 girls around him?
He had 8 girls around. I didn't even know he's there. He was in the back doing something.
Yeah.
He lives, in Malibu. I see him all the time because he was surfing. And I'm there with, like, friends, family, having dinner. And I hear, Brendan. It's loud in Scopa. Brendan. I'm like, who the fuck is that? And McCallan's like, oh, it's Bruce. I turn around and he goes, going home with a lady. I went, very cool, Bruce. Have a good night, man. Thank you.
Going home with a lady.
So I think Bruce is just, he also has a show where it's like sex talk. Bruce is like fucking, he's a beast, man. God, Callen though, man.
Callen was a beast back in the day?
Still is.
Yeah.
He's married. He's the best wingman in the world. He's married. However, Callen,
He's a smooth talker, bro.
he's a smooth talker.
Yeah.
He can have a waitress, in a palm of his hand
Yeah.
just through wine.
Sweet talker,
I would go with. I love Bruce.
I went home with Brian Callen once or twice, and it was
I've
just
gone home with
he's a
Bruce.
Smooth, yeah, he's a
I've
smooth
seen it's
talker.
time.
Yeah.
I've gone home with Bruce.
I
I
had
think
my shirt off at
Yeah,
one
no,
point.
Bruce, it is
Yeah.
time. It's fucking time. That Octagon 360 where it's with his pants off. He
Oh man.
No, Brian's a beast. Brian's the best I've ever seen. He's a charmer, and even when he doesn't want to be, he's always been a ladies' man. He's a cutie. Bruce Buffer, he has the voice, he has that talent. He grew up like that, right? Callen had to grow up with a set of skills, because Callen's a far cry from Brad Pitt. So he had to put on the charm. He has to get creative. Callen's a beast. It's going to be tough to beat Callen. I don't know if there's anyone who can beat Callen.
Wow.
What else you got, Evan?
High praise. All right, same guy.
Damn.
I know, right? Who do you have in Polaris 3? And can Gary Tonin pull it off? Or Tunin. How do you pronounce his last name? Is it
Tonin.
Paul Yaris and Tonin in
Who do you got in that, Kenny?
Polaris.
Who do you got in that? It's in England, right?
Dude, I hope Tonin freaking taps him out.
I hope
Because
he
Paul
rips
Yaris is
his
like,
ankle
he's
off.
not right in the head.
Have
You know,
you
He's
seen
not
Paul Hardy's on Instagram?
Dude, his arm is maybe as wide as his desk. Like his bicep.
He makes me look like Gumby. He is
Dude, it's
jacked.
crazy. He's built like a stump, like a tree stump. And if he gets a hold of your leg, he's going to take it back to Brazil.
It's a scary fight.
I think that Tonin is the way more technical fighter, obviously. I think he's way more versatile. I think he's going to be in better shape. But I fear if Paul Yaris gets a hold of Tonin's leg, which is going to be like this thing in his grip, he's going to
break it like a toothpick.
Yeah, exactly. But I hope Tonin wins.
I think Paul Hardy's is a one-trick pony. I think when you saw a fight when he fought Alan Belcher and it didn't work, or when he fought Nate Marquardt,
Mentally
he breaks.
Yeah.
And especially guys who have been on the sauce and stuff, when their go-tos don't work, usually when they're on sauce, they're weak-minded. A guy like Gary Tonin, as far as competitors go, I've seen a lot of guys, he might be the best I've ever seen in person. And
fun to watch.
I think he wouldn't sign up for that if he didn't have some sort of advantage. I'm going with my boy Tonin. I think he just outclassed him. I think he's been working, with John Danaher, Henzo, all those guys on leg locks. He has access to the very best in the world. I don't see Paul Hardy's, if that's all he brings, there's no way he beats him. I think Gary Tonin beats him.
I hope you're right.
Me too.
I think Tonin might do it. Yeah.
One more, Ev. What do you got?
All right, Brendan. As someone who is fairly new to stand-up comedy myself, this is from Liam Jones, how are you approaching your own stand-up? Writing, performing, etc. And when can we expect the Big Brown Hour special?
The Big Brown Hour special.
Yeah.
I'm a far cry from that. But what I do is I try not to watch other comics. I do what I think's funny, and I don't look at it as stand-up. I look at it as storytelling, and I've always been a good storyteller. So really, I go up there and tell. I go up there and tell a story, and if me and Brian think it's funny, I hope the fans think it's funny. But I don't try to appeal to the masses. I try to make Brian laugh. If Brian's laughing, I'm doing something good.
It's got to be one of the hardest things to do, man. Stand-up comedy is it's got to be one of the hardest freaking things to do because there's like the feel of the crowd. You got to see what's working, and like
we've had some crowds.
That is not easy.
Where during fan questions, especially in Vegas on a Sunday night, where me and Brian say something we think's funny, and I'll look up and some lady's like.
Crickets
shaking her head. I'm like, oh, wow. Well, it is
Sorry.
Sunday night in Vegas.
Yeah.
Sorry, you came to the show.
Right.
One more. Let's not end on one to me. Let's end on one for Kenny.
All right.
We had so many questions for you, Kay.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
How's that GT3 doing? Did you sell it yet?
I did sell it.
Boom.
Son of
Here
a
we go.
I
bitch.
did sell it. Yeah. You wanted to buy it.
I love that car. I test drove one on Saturday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Thing is fast.
They're beautiful, dude.
They're just too low to the ground.
Yeah, they are low. You got to get the lift.
I was so
because they're
stressed. This one had a bumper on the bottom, like
front,
a white
front lip. Yeah, that's front spoiler. Yeah.
I was so stressed out driving.
Those things break all the time. Dude. They get scratched. Yeah.
What do you got, Ev?
All right, last one. Kenny, I'm a budding journalist hoping
Yes?
to someday make my mark in the MMA game.
God.
What is the hardest part of analyzing and interviewing a fighter you have either trained with or have a personal relationship with?
It's the hardest thing.
I was gonna
Is
say that.
Picking
I bet.
fights and freaking having to analyze it without that bias is very, very difficult. Well, analyzing isn't difficult. It isn't really so difficult. I think it's making the picks. You know what I mean? Especially knowing these guys.
You're gonna hurt someone's
and then-
feelings.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'll actually call a fight, and people will be like, "You were so biased for the other guy." I'll be like, "I actually trained with the other guy." So
Yeah.
you have to be aware of how you're calling the fight sometimes in your head too, and then if you're giving analysis on a breakdown real quick, it is the hardest thing. Not because it's hard to analyze fights. I love doing that. I'm a freaking nerd when it comes to that. But as far as making a pick and having to do that, I feel like I'm hurting their feelings. You know what I mean? It sucks, but I'm much better with it now. And then there's the thing of picking against a fighter who can punch you in the face. So.
Yeah, but they get it. Like,
Yeah, I hope so. Well, not all of them do, though. That's the problem.
Rockhold gave me some shit. I originally picked him, and then we had someone, Skylar, who's close to Chris Weidman, told me all this background story. I was like, God.
Yeah,
so I switched.
Right.
And after his win, we had him on the show. He was like, bro, listen to
up with
Fighting the
that?
Kid.
Yeah.
He fucking picks against me. And
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. I'm like, yeah, what can you do? Do you ever have it where, where maybe you're not into social media. As, if
Don't
you
get close to the fighters is my response.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck with
Try.
that, especially
Yeah.
you. Is there fans who are like, you're always wrong, Kenny.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't pick fucking TJ Dillashaw over Hedon Barrow that first time. My bad, man. Oh, fuck you, Shab. How could you not pick Holly Holm over Ronda? Like,
Right.
my bad, man.
Yeah.
My bad. I get it all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everyone's an expert. Everyone is an expert on Twitter.
Do they ever?
But I love you.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Yeah.
Do they ever tell you, like on UFC Tonight, not to be so biased? Because it'd be an issue for me.
Yeah.
If I train with a guy and you're my friend, I'm in. I'll
tough.
sell everyone on my friends.
Sure. And that's the thing. I mean, it's difficult, man. I try not to do that, legit. I try not to pick a certain way, but it can be hard, for not only because you know that person so well, so you're seeing him in a different light, but also the fact that, like, hey, that's your training partner.
Yeah, that's
your
why you're a
friend.
pro,
Like,
though.
yeah,
You're
it's
good at
hard.
it.
It's hard.
You got
dude.
this, man. Dude, you held your own and more.
It was
Where
fun,
they
man.
can find you at Kenny Florian, obviously, on social media.
Yeah.
And then
You
the
can find-
podcast. I listen to all the time, man.
Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
Anik's good. You guys got a
I
good thing
appreciate
going.
that. Yeah. It's always fun.
It's the Anik Florian podcast on
Anik
iTunes,
and Florian podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud, and check out BattleBots. Check me out on social media and holler.
Holler at your boy. We need to have a talk about GT3. Listen, we love you guys. This is the Fighter and the Fighter and the Brain. We're out.